Come on, Keith. There he is. All right, Keith, you got us? Can you hear us, Keith?
Yeah, hold on. Try again.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you good. Can you hear me?
Yep. All you guys sound good on here, so. All right, we'll go ahead and we'll get some guests in here. It tells me how many people are viewing as they come on, so we'll let that build up. All right, we'll go ahead and we'll get this started. Throughout the night, if you guys have any questions for Curtis, Noah, or Keith, go ahead and put comment on here, and I'll get to the questions at the end. All right, so welcome to episode 2 of the Peoria Speedway live show. Tonight's episode is the 2024 Peoria Speedway Track Champions. We have, in our late model division, we have Curtis Radke. Modifieds, Noah Fall. And B-Mods, we have Keith Siegel. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring Curtis up here first. Curtis, tell us how long ago you got started in racing and what division did you start in?
Yeah, I started racing in 2012 at LaSalle Speedway in street stocks. So I raced at LaSalle in a street stock for 3 years. Then I moved to Milford, Illinois. So then I started racing at Fairbury.
Okay.
So I raced at Fairbury street stocks for 4 years then. Then 2018, I switched over to late model. Then I ran 2 years at Fairbury. Then 2020, I raced at Peoria, every week.
That's when we, what year was it we went into COVID? Because I know you came over and you practiced, and then you decided to stick the year out with us during that COVID time.
Yep, that was 2020.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what year that was.
Yeah, that was a 2-hour drive one way.
Oh, boy. Well, you just recently had a important date pop up. I seen you and Caitlin just got married.
Yes, we got married on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So
congratulations to you guys on that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Tucker and Grace missed school for that event, so they were happy about that. So,
what made the decision to go to late model racing?
The street stock rules. They were changing the street stock rules at the last minute every year, and I finally decided go to a class that they don't really mess with the rules. You just run wide open, and that's kind of why I did it, because every March, right before the season, they're giving you the rule changes. So it got pretty old trying to keep up. Yeah. Should have stayed with street stocks, probably.
Oh, you're having fun with the late model, it seems like, though.
No, I'm having fun now. The first 2 years was really rough.
Yeah.
I was actually going to quit racing, and then 2019 I won that B main in Peoria, and I bought another late model. So there's that story.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bring Noah Fall in real quick. Noah, we're gonna have you go ahead and do what year you got started and what class you got started in.
I got started 2008, and it was in street stock also. Ran that for 2 years and then moved to mods in 2010 and been there ever since.
What gave you the jump?
Well, I've known Robert Crump for a really long time because I used to help Casey Bolton out quite a bit, and he got a car from him. So, anything I needed for my car, I would go see Robert, and he had his house car at the time was wrecked, so he was getting rid of it for $500, and I was like, man, you really can't get into it any cheaper than that. So I bought it and had him put a stub on it and put it together in 2009 and 10 and went and raced it in 2010. So
Are you more than likely just going to stick out with the modifieds, or do you have a goal of maybe trying late models sometime?
man, late model's badass. Like that is the ultimate goal, I think, for everybody, is whether they admit it or not, is to drive a late model. I would love to. It's one of those things where modifieds are expensive enough, and you try to add up all that expenditure and whether or not it would be worth doing. So as a racer, I make dumb decisions, and at some point that might end up being a thing.
Yeah, well, at the end, you came out at the end of last year. I think it might have been the Roberts Memorial. You came out with a new car, and then your car was going to your daughter.
Yeah, it's not really new. It's a 2020, but it's what I wanted. I wanted to get a Vanquish, so it was actually Zeke McKenzie's backup car, so it made sense, go ahead and get into that now instead of purchasing a brand new one in the off season. So I get my feet wet in it, and I really like it. So.
Okay. All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna bring Keith on. Keith, you go ahead and explain when you first started and what class and.
I started in 2009, and I got a Hornet car. I got drunk and bought one, and I put it together, and it was quite terrible. It was the worst 10 years of my life, I think.
So you were really just ready to get out, and you went B-Mod racing.
And then, Noah Fall, I went over there, met him, and we started talking, and he said, "Hey, you need to build a B-Mod." And I said, "Well, I don't really have the money for that." And stuck in this Hornet car. He's like, "Yeah, I'll drive my daughter's Hornet car for a while and then get it going in the right direction." He said, "I'll help you out." So one thing led to another, and then we spent all year building a damn B-Mod to still not be ready at the beginning of the year. But we had goals in mind. We were going to win Rookie of the Year and hopefully get to win some races someday. So in 2017, we started that, and I won Rookie of the Year. And the following year, we backed that up with a points championship. So.
And you went ahead with the point championship this past year, and then I'll go ahead and I'll start this next question off with you, and then I'll move up to Curtis. What's your plans for the 2025 season?
As long as we get everything together, I think we got plans, and we're going to move up a class, just one class.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as that, asking them guy, or asking Noah about going to a late model, that'd be really cool for him. But fortunately, my budget's going to be, and I've said this for a long time, late model driving is really cool. Late models are really cool, but if I'm going to drive that, somebody else can have to flip the bill.
Yeah. And so you're moving up to the open mod this year. Going to run for Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
More than likely in Peoria. Are you going to try Farmers on Friday nights? Because I know you really liked how the track was when you went a couple times last year, and you wanted to try to run it. But
I would like to go there and race. I would like to go to Lincoln and race. I don't know that I'm going to get to this year because I also switched jobs, so I can't just. My other job, I could pretty much just take off and go when I wanted to, but I don't know that I'll be able to do that this year.
Mm-hmm. What's your expectations besides getting laps and getting used to the open motor type stuff? What's your goal?
Well, that goal's never going to change. Going to win races.
Win races, Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year. Keep shooting to win races. I mean, I'm going to bring a knife to a gunfight, but it doesn't matter. Everybody. Yeah. I mean. Blind squirrels find nuts. I've been lucky this far. So,
yeah. All right, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bring Curtis back up. Curtis, what are you looking to do this 2025 season?
Yeah, I'm going to be racing Peoria Speedway only again. So my goal for this year be to win a feature like Cole did last year.
There you go.
And I've been working with Tim Baker at Algier Shocks. So he's helped me quite a bit at the end of the year last year, so I feel like I should have a much better chance in doing what Cole did last year.
Yeah. No, Tim's a good guy. His son Blaze, when I was track photographer over at Farmer, they did a lot of support of me, and he seemed like he was getting more into helping more of the drivers over that way also. So
yeah, and I just happened to got lucky the one night at Peoria. Tim was pitted right next to me. He was helping. I'm not sure who was driving the mod, so I just got lucky that Tim was there, and that helped me out a ton. So I'm looking forward to this year, running the same chassis.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay. We'll go ahead and we'll bring Noah back up. Noah, what are your goals for 2025? I know it's not to win your 11th sportsmanship award.
No. Yeah, I think I mentioned I would like to have a hand in picking who gets that this year. It's not that I meant any disrespect by that. I'm really thankful that they've picked me so many times. But there's got to be there's years, even last year, I didn't feel like I deserved that. I've lost my cool on some people, and not something I like doing. So yeah, I would like to pick somebody else for that. But the goals, same as what Keith says, it's win. It's hard to pull into the track and have a different mindset and be successful. And I know some people may look at that a little different, but the end goal is to win. And if you can't get there during that night, then yeah, I will accept a different result. But when you roll in, you want to win.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt the three of you any weekly night has a shot to win at Peoria. Curtis had good runs this year. Keith, he won half the B mod races this year. I know we do have one Mars race and one Summer Nationals race. But I think you guys can even compete with that. At Peoria for sure, you can compete with those guys. So
Compete with Mars guys?
yes.
I disagree.
You don't think so?
Well, that's you're talking about a group of guys that travel from track to track that do this for a living, where I work more than 8 to 5, and then try to find time among family and other things to work on my car, which is not new.
Yeah.
I doubt any of us have a new car, where when you roll into a Mars race, most of them guys, it's a 2022 or newer.
Mm-hmm.
You're competing against stuff that you have no idea what they're doing because you're just on a local level. And I hate to sound that way, but that's the way I feel when I roll into a race like that. I don't know how Keith or Curtis would feel about that, but that's my feelings.
I agree.
Yeah, I was thinking like the Derek Roberts wasn't a Mars race, but we ended up getting quite a few of those guys because our race in Paducah had rained out. And I think our locals did pretty decent with them guys that night.
I'm sure we did okay, but it's, again, one of those deals where, like Keith said earlier, knife to a gunfight. I roll into races like that, and I feel like throwing up the whole night. It's a struggle to make the show, and when you do, you feel like, okay, that's the best part of the night. Now just try to finish. But yeah, those nights are very stressful. I would almost rather not do them.
Yeah. No, I don't. I know there's been talk on if it's going to be points races or not those nights. The support classes I think will be, but if the Mars modifieds and the Mars late models are there, I don't think it's going to be points for you guys.
And that's a tough call. I know we've done it in the past where they were points nights, but again, that is a tough call to make. I feel like, in my opinion, it probably shouldn't be, just because you got guys that race on a local level that, and myself included, when you show up there, you're outgunned.
Yeah.
And if you don't make that show because you're racing against a whole different caliber of car, it's going to make, a weekly points deal a little bit harder on your weekly guy.
Yeah. And I I know with going to my race pass, I'm able to do show up points, but I don't. If there's a series coming in your class, I don't think your class should have the points night. I think it should
And
just be.
I'm good either way. Like, it is what it is. I know
I
that's
mean, I know you're going to come and race. I know you guys will show
Yeah.
up and race. So
I try to come to a lot of those. I do miss one or two here and there just because it is tough. You're coming on a Tuesday or Wednesday, and in my opinion, my work comes first. You got to make money before you can go spend it.
right. So, all right. Let's see if there's any questions yet.
Best actor of all time, Lou Diamond Phillips.
Let's go with nicknames. Do you guys have any nicknames besides? I know Noah's like a Mario Nintendo 64 goat.
I have no nicknames, and
No nickname
I really hope that we don't come up with one.
We might have to.
Let's not.
Keith, let's bring you. I know you got a nickname, Keith. We'll bring you in.
Yeah, well, Kurt Modest gave me a nickname when I started with the Hot Lap Heroes guys. And it's kind of stuck. It's on the side of my car now. It says Cool Hand.
So just Cool Hand Keith, that's what he stuck you with?
Yep. Kurt Modest stuck with that, and it sounded catchy. So, yeah, it's on the trailer. It's on the damn car. So.
Okay. Curtis, I heard your nickname start off at, I think it was Fairberries the first time I heard Vanilla Gorilla.
Yep.
How did you end up with that nickname?
That was during my powerlifting days. So that nickname was my powerlifting days, and then somebody in the racing community found it, and then it stuck.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was Fairberries where I first heard it. And
that's where they figured out my nickname at Fairbury.
Yeah, I guess the racing world, it's hard to hide some things, I guess.
Yeah.
Guys in the chat, do you guys have any questions? I'm watching on my phone on the comments, so any questions for these guys?
Sweet.
All right. Nice and easy.
Okay, so let's go with if you have won a feature, when was it, and what class, and where was your first one at?
Fairbury Street Stock 2017, August 19th.
Down to the date.
Yeah.
Who were you running?
That was my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. That's why it's easy to remember.
Yeah.
Yep.
Noah, when was your first feature win? Do you remember?
It would have been Street Stocks at Spoon River, 2009. But I would claim to match with Curtis in a mod because I believe my first feature was August 19th, 2017 in a mod.
Okay.
So I think we won on the same night, just different classes, different tracks.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
All right, this question is going to go for all three of you. It's from Robert Ballman Sr.
What about Keith?
Oh, yeah. We'll go to Keith, and then we'll move to the question Robert had. Keith, first win, what year?
First win, 2018, May 5th.
You guys know it straight to the date.
Yeah, you put a banner up in front of Peoria Speedway that said come down and enjoy weekly racing on May 5th. That was my first feature win, and that banner hangs in my race shop. So
Nice. All right, all three of you. This one's from Robert Bauman Sr. If you could change one thing in racing, what would it be? Keith, you're up on the screen, so we'll go with you first.
Tires.
Don't blame you there.
Tires. Would change the tires. I would give us a tire that you don't have to do all this bullshit prep to, if I could do anything.
Well, I was going to say, now you're moving up to modified, so you're kind of limited on what you can do now.
Yeah, but I mean, I like that better. The whole grooving and siphoning and having to grind and wash them with certain stuff, I think sucks. I just wish we could just have a tire that you could just, which I mean, I get it. You got to clean them and grind them, but I just wish that we had a tire that would last and would be affordable, last, and we could just wash them and grind them. Just wash them with water. We don't need some crazy soap or no oils or any bullshit.
Yeah. Curtis, we'll go to you. What's one thing you would change?
I'm right with Keith. Tires. I spend more time during the week doing tires than I do working on the car. Because if I don't have my tires right for the night, I don't go to the track. So Tuesday night, I start my tire work. Well, I wash tires on Sunday, then Tuesday night, grind, mount new ones, sipe, everything. And then, then the rest of the week is getting the car ready. So tires is the worst.
Noah, what's the one thing? We've got two guys with tires.
Well, I agree with that. The longevity of the tire, an all 60 rule would be fine with me. But, that I agree with, absolutely. And the other one I think they're correcting anyway is taking some of the aero dependency off of the cars. I know at Peoria it really doesn't come into play, but you watch a lot of these races and, you even see mods where, somebody gets tucked in behind somebody and loses the air on the nose and pushes up the track. And, getting rid of stuff like that seems like that hopefully would better some of the racing.
So in the modified class and the rules it says for next year, I don't know if this has anything to do with it because I'm not a rule guy, but talking about raising how high the nose has to be off the ground for next year.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen that?
Yeah. So it doesn't apply for this year. It would be for 2026.
Yeah.
We'll see if they actually stick to that. So I guess tune into Florida next year and see who shows up with what.
Yeah. My brother, Billy, he asked if you could bring one driver from the past to race against, who would it be?
There's a couple, I think. Billy Tuckwell, I would love to race with. Ray Gus Jr. Those two come to mind immediately.
Okay. Keith, driver from the past. You grew up at Peoria, so you know a lot of them.
I would like to be able to race competitively with the Lance brothers. I think that would be a fun race when they were at their best.
Okay. Tim on the bottom, Steve on the top.
Yeah, and I would like to go right through the middle and beat them both. That would be a great race.
Actually, that is how Bobby Pierce won his first ever late model race, and it was at Peoria. His first ever feature win. He went through Kurt owned the racetrack at that time. He went through the middle as those two were. Steve was blasting the top, and Tim was on the bottom being smooth, and Bobby just went straight through the middle.
Yeah, that would be ideal for a first feature win, especially growing up at Peoria. I mean, I've been coming there my whole life.
Yeah. Curtis, we'll go ahead and ask you. You're on a different. I mean, you were Fairbury LaSalle, so your answer could be totally different because you may not know as many of the Peoria past drivers.
Yeah, Denny Hovengay, but I'm from Iowa.
Yeah. What part of Iowa?
Uncle, what's that?
What part of Iowa?
Northwest Iowa.
Okay.
It's like 7-hour drive to my dad's, but
oh wow.
Yeah.
So what track did you guys go to then?
That was Elta, Iowa, Buena Vista Speedway.
Okay.
So my uncle was the crew chief for him way back in the day. So being a little kid watching him race.
What number was he?
He was number 10 and number 3.
Okay. So how did you come up with? Oh, Billy says he remembers him. So Billy was in Iowa a lot more than I was.
Okay.
Back in those days.
Yep.
I was mainly Burlington, Lee County, Davenport, West Liberty, Farley. Those were the ones that I went to. But okay, your guys' car numbers. How did you guys come up with your car numbers?
That's my college football number.
Where'd you go to college at?
Buena Vista College, Storm Lake, Iowa.
Okay. Let's see. Keith, where did you come up with your car number?
I started racing the few months after my mom died.
Mm-hmm.
So I needed a number, and I don't like single-digit numbers. So the year she was born was 68, and I just put an M in front of it.
Okay. Noah, where did your car number come from?
Well, mine's dumb. I had some 89 Mustangs. I really liked the Fox body Mustangs back then. And for some reason, I got stuck on 1989 models. And I had a couple of them and spent a lot of money on them. I really like them cars. And that's how I got the number.
Yeah. Outside of racing, what do you guys like to do?
Make money and drink beer.
Okay. Curtis, outside of racing, what's your guys' hobbies?
Lift weights
Yeah.
and cook.
Yeah, I seen you guys just did. Was it bread you guys just did?
Yeah, we went down the sourdough path. So
Okay. How those things come out?
they are amazing.
Yeah.
Best bread I've ever had in my life. So,
There you go.
Yep.
See, I got a new nickname for Curtis. We call him the Dough Man.
Yeah.
That's right.
I like it.
Keith, outside of racing, what is your hobby for you and the family now?
Oh, I mean, I just like doing race car stuff and drinking beer. And I mean, I like hanging out with them too, but I mean, I really just like, I like doing race car things. When I'm not working on mine or I'm not, here hanging out with the baby, I mean, I'm at Noah's shop working on somebody's race car.
You just redid a whole motorhome and took a little nice trip.
My wife redid that motorhome. I didn't have much to do with that. I did some flooring in it. She did a wonderful job on it. But yeah, then we took that motorhome and headed all the way. Well, I mean, it's the one we use at the racetrack. But yeah, we towed it all the way down to Key West, Florida.
Where were you coming back from, or what town was it you were coming back from and you got stuck in that you told us you were – was it Atlanta?
It was Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, 35-foot motorhome, and noon in Atlanta, Georgia is one of the worst decisions anybody could ever make in their life. I would rather go back and race at Knoxville on that half-mile track, and I really don't like that.
That was going to be my next question is your guys' worst wrecks.
Yeah. I can answer that. There's two of them, and they're about equal. Both of them pretty much destroyed race cars. Knoxville, Illinois.
Yeah.
One of them was the Summer Nationals. I flipped on the television. Anybody can go watch it in the vault. From the only Summer Nationals race to ever be held at Knoxville, Illinois. And then 2 years before that, in 2018, I absolutely cleaned the front of a car off there too.
Curtis, what was your worst wreck from street stocks to late models? Which one do you think was your worst one?
I would say the Prairie Dirt Classic 2018 or 9. I think it was 2019 when Chris Simpson's bumper was in my window.
Yeah.
Yeah. His bumper actually hit my helmet. So,
Oh wow.
Damn.
Did you ever have did you roll the street stock at one point? I couldn't remember if you flipped.
No, I've still stayed on all fours. I've been on two wheels a few times, but I've stayed on all four.
Okay. I couldn't remember if it was you or Shomus that flipped the street stock one year.
No, that was Shomus.
Okay. We'll go with Noah, and then Corey Smith has a question. Let's see. Noah, I don't remember you ever really having a bad wreck, but
well, I mean, there's been some doozies. I'd say the worst for damage was probably in my street stock my rookie year. It was back when we were doing, I think you did the spin thing where you spin the dial and it could end up from 1 to 12 and somehow ended up on 12 like 80% of the time.
mm-hmm.
So we did a 12-car invert. I ended up the meat in the sandwich, I guess. They split the front rails apart, split the back rails off of it. I got to tell you, Don Dare and Derek helped me put that car back together, and we came back the next week and blew the clutch out of it, I think somewhere into the creek. But Yeah, that was the worst wreck, I would have to say.
Okay. Corey Smith, crew chief for Roger Repholz, he was asking, what driver have you always looked up to?
I guess we going for our racing career, I guess, then.
Yeah.
Like
Your racing
there's been
career, who do you bounce it off of? Who have you looked up to?
there's a number of them, honestly, but
Yeah, I have a list
if
of these.
yeah, I mean, if it's the mod division and it's somebody I had a race against, it'd be Mike Chastain Jr.
Okay.
There's the guy that, consistently could get it to the front or win most nights, and obviously Eric Bruce, and I, those two are almost combined when you want to talk about them, but yeah, those two for sure.
Okay. Keith, we'll go ahead with you.
I mean, I always looked up to like Noah, and then I had my uncle Jack, and I had Jim Carmody, and Jason Jaggers. I mean, so there was a lot of them, and then right down to like even Mike Jones.
Okay.
So
Curtis, we'll go ahead with you.
Yeah, Richie and Donnie Bell.
There you go.
For whatever reason, they liked me at LaSalle. They took me under their wing, so they've helped me for a lot of years now. They've always been super nice to me, even though when I was struggling and super slow.
If you had anybody that you race with now weekly or within the last couple of years, who would you say your best competitor race to race with is? Making him think on this one.
Yeah, I got to think on this one. It's the field last year at Peoria was changed every week.
It did. We had guys just in and out.
Yeah. So I sure had a lot of fun with Roger Rebels.
Okay.
Yeah, he was fun a lot of week. I sure do miss racing with Glenn, but
yeah. Okay. Noah, who would you say racing week to week?
It's hard to think back and come up with one name there, but most recently I would say Deegan Dozard. We had a pretty good battle where we just went, I think, side by side for, God, it had to have been 11 or 12 laps. And it was great. We had respect for each other, didn't hit each other, just raced it out. So, but again, that's a tough question because that question can change week to week too.
It can.
So that one comes to mind right now.
Okay. Keith?
Well, obviously, I mean, mine's going to have to be Jake Montgomery because, I mean, we've raced side by side a lot, and I've only hit each other a couple times. But as far as best race I've ever ran as competitively with somebody would be Austin Simpson.
Austin Simpson. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. Pretty sure everybody knows your guys' favorite type of beer.
Cold one.
Cold
Coke
one.
Zero.
Yeah, Coke
That's my
Zero.
favorite beer.
Mine's actually Corona.
Really? I would have said Busch Light for you too, but
Corona with a lime. That is my favorite beer. But obviously, you're not going to get a glass bottle Corona and a lime just anywhere.
yeah. So a topic a lot of people are bringing up again is for weekly races themselves is about how time trials and straight up is ruining racing. What
Disagree.
You disagree? I know when we changed. So what's your guys' thoughts on this?
That is not ruining racing. That is saving the racer by far a lot of money.
Yes.
Because we used to do the draw and just start with a draw, and then I'm not going to name names, but when that person draws a 1 and the car who would have qualified first and has the best shot at winning draws a 100, he's now starting last. and the slowest cars that are in front of him, and you have to get through that wreck, which you should have never been behind that wreck anyway. So I think it saves everybody. It saves you guys time at the racetrack, and it saves us a lot of money not having to tear our stuff up.
Okay, we'll go with Curtis.
Yeah, same thing. I time trials and line up where you qualified. Saves you a ton of money because, wrecked a lot of equipment with pill draws.
Mm-hmm. No, I know back when we were talking about going qualifying or just pill draw. You were one of the highest ones to speak up about qualifying has to happen.
I do prefer qualifying and lining up where you belong. Now, with that said, I'm also open to a very small amount of invert, and maybe not so much for heat races, but for the feature. I've often said we could get a big dice and have a kid come out and toss it down the front stretch, and you get 1 through 6, and that's 6 cars is not a huge number to invert. You might end up on the good end of it, and you might end up on the shit end of it, but that would mix things up a little bit, and it's not a huge change. So that is one thing I would be okay with. And I know it's not my decision to make, but then you get some fans involved too, a kid involved, and maybe have something where you figure out what kid throws the dice down the front stretch that week. I don't know, but
I know we did away with the redraws last year. It's taken too much time. Intermissions were going half hour, 40 minutes because of the redraw, having to get everything reprinted, give you guys time to get back up there. So last year we made the decision just to go straight up. I don't think the racing was bad last year.
No, I don't think it was bad at all. I was totally fine with that. But like I said, if it was going to be an invert, you could do that for the whole everybody.
Yeah, it could be one.
And I'm good with straight up too. Neither one would bother me too much.
Yeah, if you did the dice, it could be for all classes. So
yeah,
one dice, all the classes.
What was that, Keith?
One dice, that's for all the classes.
Yeah, and I'm not opposed to anything like that. It's just a lot of you see things that people say what is wrong with weekly racing, and it's the time trials and the straight up, but I think last year with the track that Cody and Jay and Brandon with the new dirt, and yes, I mean they're getting as much of the rocks out as they can every week. The track was racy last year. From my view, I don't know. I mean, what was your thoughts?
There was some nights that there were some moon craters going on, but for the most part, towards the end of the season, I don't think you'd have too many people that were racers that would have had complaints about it. It was pretty good.
Okay. Yeah. Keith,
well,
I know you are.
I've always been a hammered down track guy. I really like the fact of just being able to lay into the sucker and let her eat. But I won races last year on a rough racetrack. I run races on a hammer down racetrack. I won races on a slick racetrack. So, I mean, it doesn't make no difference to me. I won a lot of races, so I can't really complain about any racetrack. So, I mean, we did it on all of them last year, so I'm not going to be one to complain. But and I know how much time goes into getting the rocks out of there, so they are doing their best. I know because I've spent a lot of time down there with a guy at the rock picker. So,
Curtis,
we appreciate that.
Curtis, what was your thoughts on last year?
Yeah, track was really good. I know it was really rough the one night, but after that, it really came in. And I think this winter, with how cold it's been and then the frost and thaw, it really ought to help the new dirt that you put down.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting the track to be really good to start the season.
I'm hoping so because we got 1 weekly or 2 weekly races, I think, and then the Mars race comes in for the Swible Memorial. So I'm hoping we get our first 2 weekly shows in.
Yeah, and then I think you guys got some snow too, so that ought to help.
Yeah, it's pretty much gone, I think, now. So
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, after today.
yeah, today kind of melted it all away. So all right, let's go with who you guys would like to thank, sponsors, family, friends. Give your shout outs to everybody you guys can right now.
Sponsors: Justin Nelson, Nelson Trucking, and Zigolowski Farms out of Mason City. That's my two sponsors. Then I gotta give a shout out to Roger Rickles. He's always helped me with everything over the years. And then gotta thank Caitlin, Grace, and Tucker for all the support. Because it's a lot of hours in the shop during the summer, so I missed dinners with them in the summer. So
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, Noah, we're gonna bring you up. Who would you like to give shout outs to?
I mean, I got some crew that helps me, Jason Opie and Jeremy Arian. Those two guys come to the racetrack quite a bit, help me out. Lloyd Jones also. Other than that, DNN, they pretty much fund the whole motherfucker. So that's it.
Keith?
Oh, fuck, man, I got a list. Oh, I need to thank, my wife for letting me do this. We got a new baby at home and shit. And then I got to thank my new crew chief, Craig Martin, my crew guy, my main crew guy, Adam. And I need to thank my brother-in-law, Pedro, for always being there during the week and stuff. And then I need to thank the sponsors. I got a bunch of them. I got DNN Auto Bodies, so thank Noah. I got to thank Larry Korth Farms, Wagner Farms, Greg Jansen Farms, Mark Jansen Farms, Carmody Services, Josh Kopp Inc. I'm trying to think of all of them. I'm not standing next to cars. It's hard. Hot Lap Heroes. I think that's all of them. Dirtle Tree Services. Dan's always taking care of me. I think I got them all. I don't know. If I forgot you, send me a message. I'll shout you out.
Noah, your daughter is pretty upset because she said you didn't thank your DD, but as far as I know, she couldn't even drive a truck around a parking lot the last time I talked to you guys. So,
yeah, sorry. I guess I got to thank my best good daughter for complaining a lot. The countless hours she spends in the garage working on her race car. I don't know.
All three of them?
I don't even think it's three. But yeah.
I was talking for the whole year.
I love my daughter very much.
all right. Well, we are just about a month. We're under a month from the first practice date now because I believe our first one is March 22nd. And then we open up the first weekend of April. How are you guys liking the schedule to where Brandon has taken some days off throughout the year for like the holidays? I know we're looking at it as those were our days where we didn't have crowds and the car counts were down.
I like it. I think it's great. I think we race, and this is also coming from a local guy. Like, if you're not a local racer, you're going to hate that kind of schedule. But a local racer, I like that. I like to have a little time off, do something else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm great with it.
Okay. Curtis, I know you really enjoyed it last year. So how's the schedule for you?
I love it. I think it's great. So I can take a vacation in the summer, spend time with the family for a weekend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we're going down to Lake of the Ozarks to Billy's for Memorial Day weekend. We're gonna hit the Show Me 100 down at Lucas Oil Speedway, and then head up to put flowers down on my grandma and grandpa's graves up in Kirksville. So, Keith, you're a diehard. I know you'd be there whether it's 100 degrees or 30 degrees. So
I don't know, man. I really like that shortened schedule. We did a lot of things last year, so it really opened it up and let me get a lot of things done that I didn't realize that we're not getting done. So plus I got to spend a lot more time with my daughter and my wife. Now the camper's done, and she really liked the camping deal when we went down to Florida. So I'm sure we'll get to go camping on them weekends, the long weekends that we have off now. And like 4th of July and stuff was nice. We got to go do things, and I lit off, a couple $1,000s worth of fireworks here at my house. So
Yeah. Okay, well, we are hitting about 45 minutes, and that's about how long I said I was going to keep you guys. So I appreciate you guys all for coming on and being part of episode 2. I think this was a pretty good show for most of it. Yeah, it was a little slow to start with, and then people started coming in, but I appreciate you guys taking your time and doing this tonight.
Thanks for having us.
yeah, no problem.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, we will talk to you guys later.
All right, see you later.